Wow. So I was thinking how there really hasn't been anything uh, in the news the last few days. It's kind of been quiet. And I was thinking about there's really nothing to talk about. Everything's kind of quiet on the war front. You know what I'm saying? Right now, today's the 1st of July. And I was thinking there's people probably on YouTube somewhere right now talking about all kinds of grand conspiracies. And there's all kinds of people who that sort of thing piques their interest. And I was thinking, well, I need to get on here and on this horn and holler at you. But there really ain't much going on in the news, and I sound like a broken record. But then I thought about, man, all those people who probably are doing podcasts somewhere tonight about the Philadelphia Project or the Manhattan Project or Antarctica or the flat Earth or the dome or all kinds of things. Hey, I'm not mad at anybody, but what I got to talk about is the most grand of what the world would say is a conspiracy theory. It's unbelievable that this whole time, if you're an American, this whole time you've been living in the land, you can get to the land. It's right here. And it's been hidden from us. And what we thought was the land and the people and the return was actually the image. And so I went to get on here to talk about that. And what I found in the last few minutes is gonna blow your mind. I happened to, when I was reading some of Jeremiah, I heard a news channel talking about the UN saying that if Israel goes to war with Hezbollah, it's going to be apocalyptic. And I've heard that the last couple days. And that same news channel that was saying that was talking about what you're looking at here. I'll read it to you. This is what they were saying. That the USS Wasp and its amphibious ready group, ARG, which includes the 24th, Coinky Dink, I don't know, Marine Expeditionary Unit, MEU, moved into the Mediterranean Sea. Concerns of escalation between Israel and Hezbollah led the U.S. to move the ships further into the eastern Mediterranean. The second official said, as Israel's officials have said they are prepared for intense action in southern Lebanon. And that's from CNN, And like I said, I don't promote CNN or Fox or any of them, but I do know this. CNN used to be less of a warmongering, propagandizing news station than Fox always was. So for them to be saying this, it is telling what they are planning to do. And notice how, and what the news channel that was talking about this, where I heard this from, what they were saying, like they were acting surprised that America was moving pieces in to help, to assist But if they'd been reading the Word with us like we did in the last video, they would know why America's there. They're acting surprised. They're like, why are we fighting this war with Israel? This is Israel doing this. No, they're together. It's the same bird, my friend. But I figured we would read Jeremiah, because we read the last 2 chapters of Isaiah, and I said, well, let's go back and read Jeremiah, some more of Jeremiah. But I saw the verse of the day, and you're going to want to stick around. Trust me on this one. And I didn't want to sound cliche in the beginning and say that it's been quiet, because maybe that's the quiet before the storm, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. That's probably why it's so quiet right now, with like big headlines. But at the same time, you see pieces being moved and stationed for what's about to come. But I seen the verse of the day, Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 14. 14. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the esteem of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. So I figured, because this is, I wanted to see, I already know that's rhetorical, but I know that I was going to probably read this to you guys. And I said, well, let me just go see what the context of Habakkuk 2 is. And if it's more evidence, then I'll talk about it. I'll read it before we hit Jeremiah chapter 42. And you decide. I'll present this word to you, and you tell me. I stand at my watch and station myself on the watchtower and wait to see what he says to me, and what to answer when I am reproved. And Yahuwah answered me and said, write the vision and inscribe it on tablets, so that he who reads it runs. Do you think he's not being literal on that one? Do you think that's just a metaphor? He's just telling you to run from sin? We'll see. For the vision is yet, and it is to run. You do need to run from sin, but your feet literally have to do some moving too in order to accomplish all that. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and it speaks of the end. And I know what y'all are saying, for any of you who've seen this, who've been around here for a while. I know we've read this countless times, but we're going to keep doing it. For those new viewers, whoever might have just tuned in the last video or two, or maybe this one, and they're not, they're not aware of what this word's saying. They're not aware of the secret of the Most High, the creator of everything. The Most High of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our Messiah, Yahusha. I'm going to read it, and we all need to hear it, no doubt. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. And like I say all the time, I reread this and found so much more that I found last time. So this is why we keep reading this, my friends. This is why this is the living word we keep feeding. Let the people who want to die reject this good news of the rain. Don't reject it. Hear it. If you've got time to watch anything else or do anything else, you need to make time to hear what I'm about to say and what the Most High is about to say. For the vision, is yet for an appointed time, and it speaks of the end, and it does not lie. if it lingers, wait for it shall certainly come, it shall not delay. That gives me reassurance. It lets me know, because I do get to thinking that, like, man, what's going on? But we're not the Most High. We don't call the shots. We can't do no predicting, and we can't give no dates. We have to just stay true to the word and to him. But when he tells us the signs to look for to let us know we're in the end times, we can know, because we've seen signs. We know we're in the latter days. And when that appointed time is going to be, we don't know for sure which exact appointed time it's going to be. That therein lies, that is why we must stay true to the word and follow the Lamb. As long as we follow the Lamb, it doesn't matter what day it lands on, because we're in the house, we're doing what we're supposed to do. But if you see all the signs and you're like, man, this is about to happen, but then it goes on for like another year or so, which I'm not thinking that's what it's gonna be. But if it does, this is what he's talking about. If it lingers, wait for it shall certainly come. It shall not delay. See, he whose being is not upright in him is puffed up, but the righteous one lives by his steadfastness. Just what I was saying. He lives by his steadfastness. As long as he's going in and out of the city, following the Lamb, observing the Torah, right, judging rightly, using right ruling, and abiding in the truth, the Spirit of the Most High. That's steadfast. And we don't, like I said, you don't have to worry. You're not rolling the dice. You know for sure what's going on. And also, because wine betrays him, a man is proud, and he does not stay at home. Because he enlarges his appetite as Sheol, and he is like death and is not satisfied, and gathers to himself all nations, and heaps up for himself all peoples. Now, before, when I read this, I thought this was talking about men, us, not staying at home. And it is, but it's bigger than that. And I realized a lot more about it today when I went to read it just now, before I got on here. Check it out. Shall not all these lift up a proverb against him, and a mocking riddle against him, and say, woe to him who increases what is not his? Till when is he to load on himself many pledges? This is talking about the body, but not the body of Messiah. This is talking about the image of the beast and all of its inhabitants, all the people who still stand with that place and support it, who still go into these pagan Babylonian circuses. That's what they are, where there's no esteem, no respect, no reverence, no fear, no love, most importantly, and all that equals love. If you ain't fearing or esteeming or respecting, if you ain't got no respect for the Most High, you do not love him. Plain and simple. So this is talking about all that, the image of the beast, and all who prop it up, all who we've been reading about. We know the land of the Kasdim, all these Christians who would, at this point, these MAGA Christians would assume rip your throat out to listen to you talk about anything that goes against what they're talking about, against Trump or against Israel. They firmly believe that's what the snare has done. That's that drunkenness. That's what we were just reading it in the last video. He said that she was a golden cup in his hand. He made the nations drunk and mad with it. That's what's happening. They think they know. This is how they've done. This is how he's did it. He laid out that snare. The enemy, he let the enemy lay the snare, and the world has believed it because they haven't read that there would be a mocking riddle. They don't know about the riddle. They don't know that this word is riddle. They ain't figured that out yet, most people. They think that that's the Holy Land, God's chosen people, you better not touch them. And I mean, seriously, am I lying? They could probably do the most grotesque, evil deed right in front of them, people's very eyes, and they would still say that, wouldn't they? So do you see the drunkenness and the madness? And all the while, there's nothing, all this word that we've been reading about coming home and following the Lamb, that's nowhere in none of that equation. These people who are mad, they really would. They're getting violent. They're getting, and we're at a peak of all this rage and pride. That's what it is. They are proud of all that, and they don't want to let go of it. And they think what they do is what everyone's supposed to do, but it's not what the word says. That's how it's mocking them. Woe to him who increases what is not his. See, that's all these churches. That's the image of the beast. Anyone who's they're trying to increase what is not theirs. They leaped over the threshold, right? They've been loading on themselves many pledges. That's what what I've been talking about. That's that pledge. They've already made a pledge, and the only way to come out of that pledge to them is they would have to admit that they've been wrong. They don't have to apologize, but they'd have to repent and do a 180, and stop doing that, which would mean that their whole campaign has been false, and and everyone they know is gonna know that they're gonna do a flip flop, and they don't want to, so they're just holding on strong. Yep, that's what they're doing. Do not your creditors rise up suddenly, and those who make you tremble wake up, and you be plunder for them? Because you have plundered many nations, all the remnant of the people shall plunder you, because of men's blood and doing violence to the land, to the city, and to all who dwell in it. Woe to him, and remember, what did he just say? Gathering to themselves what is not theirs. They did violence to the land, to the city. Woe to him who is getting evil gain for his house, in order to set his nest on high, to escape the clutches of evil. Can it be any more clear? It confirms everything I just said. No, I mean, regardless of how I said it, how I can articulate this message. No, I'm not the best. And no, you're not going to get perfection when it comes out my mouth. But the message that we're talking about is what you need to hear, regardless of how it sounds coming through your ear. You need to pay attention and read this and open your eyes and turn your ears on and understand that I'm not lying to you. This is really happening, and you need to wake up. At an appointed time, you best be standing in the spot because you want to, because you love the Most High, because that Spirit, His Spirit of truth, guided you. You rode that Spirit there. for safety, for refuge, because you believed, you feared, you trusted, you were faithful, you were trustworthy, loyal, you loved. You best be in that spot. Coming soon. You better be there soon. You have counseled shame for your house to cut off many peoples, and your being is sinning. Congregation of Satan, to cut off many peoples, that snare, the trap, the image of the beast, the abomination that lays waste. Waste. For a stone from the wall cries out, hello, McFly. McFly, wake up. And a beam from the timbers answers it. Woe to him who builds a town by blood and establishes a city by unrighteousness. That person a couple videos ago that said I was deceived. If you happen to be hearing this, what's your thoughts? Just curious. What are your thoughts about what we're reading here? And what we've been reading? Just curious. And I only ask that. I love you. I want everyone. Let's work it out. I'm not dismissing you. I'm not telling you to not come back here. I encourage you to. I might not handle it the best, but I want to. I want to work it out with everyone. But just keeping it real, it's probably not going to happen with people like that. And I say that for those who might have your ears on and your eyes open right now a little bit, and you might be hearing what I'm telling you, what the word's telling you. Don't worry about all those people that say we're greatly deceived. They're going to. The majority of the people are going to go against what the word says. Does the word not tell us that? Does the Most High not tell us that most people are rebellious and they're not going to hear, and you're going to have a problem for speaking it and believing it and living it with the rest of the world? That's what it says, don't it? So there's going to be all kinds of people. But you, if you're set apart, you have to go against the grain. Think outside the box. You have to be willing to put your Berean boots on and look at this and understand that that's what this is saying. This is the mocking riddle. And look, it's not hard to figure out. Look at the drunkenness of these people who are doing this. Like I said, they're bombing, starving little kids and stuff, little children, and all this wicked stuff. They got the star. I mean, we've went back this whole time. The Most High has placed it in my heart to tear down Babylon's walls this whole time, even before I knew any of the stuff I'm talking about right now. Since like 2017, I've been at that thing before I even knew what it was. But and I can remember one of the first things I realized was just that star alone is something we're told not to even do. We're not to have no images like that. And I seen the controversy of the Star of David, they called it, and there were people saying, well, it's this and that. Well, you know how long it took me to figure out what that thing was? Not very long. It's a hexagram. It's a hexagram. And what is a hexagram? Go look it up. It's all about magic, and it's sigils, and it's all Satan worship. It's not hard to figure out, you guys. And then if you just need more proof, I mean, just go right down the line. They don't believe the Messiah came. They would cut your head off if they could. There's people there in that government that want to make those Noahide laws. They want to institute those, and you ain't no Christian if those laws are instituted. And I could go on and on. We all know. They think we're all pigs, and they are the chosen ones. And then they got their little fanboys and girls cheerleading them. And they're wicked and evil. They don't even believe the Messiah came. They would kill them very people who are worshiping them. And I hear all this bold and arrogant stuff coming out of damn near every one of them. They all say things like, you need to worship all us Jews. Don't just worship the one you thought was the Messiah. And all the stuff I've showed you guys, man, we seen the one was saying that he did the stuff with the sausage and everything. I mean, my God, you guys, it's crazy. This is clear. It's so obvious to anyone who wants to see this. But now, though, once you see that, you have to know that that word's been telling you. See all the truth, right? You see how the Most High put that word in there thousands of years ago about what would be going on today. And now you see that, so you know, that solidifies your faith even more. You know that this is really happening, that this ain't no joke. So now you understand that you really have to move your body. This ain't no joke. This is really happening. See, it is not from Yahuwah of hosts that peoples labor only for fire, and nations weary themselves for naught. And any thing you look at, whatever it is that you're looking at when it comes to the return and those people and who they are, how they got there, what they represent, it could never be from the Most High. There ain't nothing about it. It comes directly from Satan. It's the congregation of Satan, just like the Messiah told us. And we know all about their star. He tells us that the words told us every detail about all this stuff when it comes to those guys. There's no excuse. That is your iniquity. If you just cover your eyes and you plug your ears and act like you didn't see this because you want to keep rocking out, that's rocking out in Babylon. You know where you're going. If you want to live and you want to try to help anyone you can, you best come out right now. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the esteem of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. I don't know how that got switched to red. Woe to him who gives drink to his neighbor, pouring out your wineskin, also making him drunk in order to look on their nakedness. If they're not home, they're naked. That's what it is. That's what that thing's done. It's created a bunch of people walking around bucket naked. You shall be filled with shame instead of esteem. Drink, you too, and be exposed as uncircumcised. See, is exposed. That's what's happening right now. The skirt's been lifted, just like all the word's been telling us. Revelations says they'll stand at a distance for fear of her torture. They'll say, Babylon, the great city, who is like the city? Who can make war with her? That's what they're saying right now. They're saying nobody can touch her. That's God's chosen people. So for you who have a brain to turn your ears on and open your eyes, you best believe this is really happening. This ain't no joke. And you better act accordingly. Drink you too, and be exposed as uncircumcised. The cup of the right hand of Yahuwah shall come around to you, and great shame upon your esteem. See? The cup of the mighty right hand. The true cup. For the violence done to Lebanon is to overwhelm you. See? The violence done to the land and to the city is to overwhelm you. And the ravaging of beasts by which you made them afraid, because of men's blood, and the violence to the land, to the city, and all who dwell in it. Of what use shall a carved image be? What use? If that's not the land, and that was leaping over the threshold, what use is it? There's no use, is it? If you carve your own image out, and you operate not on the spirit of the Most High, of truth, but on the spirit of Satan, the congregation of Satan. Do what thou will be the whole of the law. That's how you operate. For its maker has carved it, a molded image and teacher of falsehood. You see, this ain't talking about a statue. This is talking, you know, you ever heard someone say, I went back there and carved me a home, you know, out of those 40 acres or something like that? That's what he's talking about. That's what the carved image is. It doesn't matter how you carve it. You painted this picture. The world has, the Kasdim, the Chaldeans, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, all those guys, they carved for themselves out an image in order to be the hammer of the whole world, rule the world, dominate, and suck as many souls down the toilet bowl as they can. That's the mission for those guys. And I mean, they've done a pretty nice job so far, haven't they? For the maker trust what he has made to make dumb idols. Woe to him who says to wood, awake, to silent stone, arise. Is it a teacher? See, it is overlaid with gold and silver, and there is no spirit at all inside it. Overlaid with gold and silver. The people, the Christians, they've overlaid it. That's what the gold and silver means. We're supposed to be the gold and the silver, right? We're refined, right? Well, they attribute all their righteousness and whatever they say to that place, and they go over there and they say it's the Holy Land. They bow. They've overlaid they've overlaid Benjamin Netanyahu and all this crap with gold and silver. Donald Trump. But there ain't no spirit inside of it. You know how I can tell you that with confidence? Go check to see what they do, to see if they do anything that matches what the Most High says, besides like murder, but they're doing that. So they murder people, they're stealing, they're lying, they don't do anything the Most High does. So they're not following the Spirit of the Most High. It's not following the Lamb. But Yahuwah, though, is in his set-apart Hakal, that set-apart mountain. Let all the earth be silent before him. I guarantee you, once somebody, whoever's hearing this, once you start seeing this and you realize that I ain't been pulling your leg, you're going to start to notice that every time you open the Bible, you're going to be reading about this, no matter where you go. It don't matter. Then all the commanders of the army and John, son of Kura, and Yezniah, son of Hoshea, and all the peoples from the least to the greatest came near and said to Jeremiah. Now, I'm not going to go back and read the chapter before. We have, but I'm just, we don't, I'm going to read this because we need to understand the kind of mindset, the attitude, the spirit that we all need to be operating in. And this is a prime example of what we all need to do, what these people did back then. This is an account of what was going on back then. And said to Jeremiah, so those guys, least to the greatest, came near to Jeremiah, the prophet, said to him, we beg you, let our petition be acceptable to you, and pray for us to Yahuwah your Most High for all this remnant. For we are few, left of many, as your eyes see us. And let Yahuwah your Most High show us the way in which we should walk, and the word which we should do. Whoever these people were, they'd had about enough of it, of what was going on, huh? They were tapping out. They tapped. They said, just ask the Most High, what do we got to do? Where we got to go? That's what we'll do. Well, if you haven't realized that by now, that's what you need to do, we all need to do it. You need to wake up to that fact that that's what you need to do. Everyone does. But there's going to come a time here, and I think it's going to be soon, that it's going to be too late for a lot of people to do that. Right now is the time we need to be asking the Most High what we need to do. And Jeremiah the prophet said to them, I have heard. See, I am praying to Yahuwah your Most High according to your words, and it shall be that I declare to you all the word Yahuwah answers you. I withhold not a word from you. And they said to Jeremiah, let Yahuwah be a true and steadfast witness between us. If we do not do according to all the word which Yahuwah your Most High sends us by you, whether good or evil, let us obey the voice of Yahuwah your Most High, our Most High, to whom we send you, in order that we might be well with us when we obey the voice of Yahuwah your Most High. Now check this out. Those people back then, they went to Jeremiah and they were waiting for Jeremiah to come back with words to tell them what to do. I mean, clearly they were desperate and they were ready to do it, to get it right. But they're talking about just taking, like, can you imagine in today's time if somebody did that? You think people are, and we don't have to. That's how we're different. How this time is different than all the rest. Just one more prime example of that is that I'm not going and praying. Nobody's going and praying to the Most High and coming back and saying, this is what the Most High said to do. No. The word's right here. We don't have to do that. These guys were willing to take it from Jeremiah and trust that he was going to give them the true word. You don't have to jump out on that big of a limb. All you got to do is come crack this Bible open and put your Berean boots on. And it's all telling you the same thing. And they said to Jeremiah, let Yahuwah be true and steadfast, a steadfast witness. No, we just read that. Whether good or evil. You read that too. And after 10 days, it came to be that the word of Yahuwah came to Jeremiah. So he called John, son of Kira, and all the commanders of the army which were with him, and all the people from the least even to the greatest, and said to them, thus said Yahuwah the Most High Yasharal, to whom you sent me to present your petition before him. If you would indeed stay in this land, then I shall build you and not pull you down, and I shall plant you and not pluck you up. For I have relented of the evil I have done to you. Do not be afraid of the sovereign of Babel, of whom you are afraid. Do not be afraid of him, declares Yahuwah, for I am with you to save you and deliver you from his hand. And I shall show you compassion, so that he has compassion on you and let you return to your own land. But if you say, we are not staying in this land, and so disobey the voice of Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, saying, no, but we are going to the land of Mitzrayim, so that we see no fighting, nor hear a voice of a shofar, nor hunger for bread, and there we shall stay. Then hear the word of Yahuwah, O remnant of Yehudah. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Most High of Yasharal, if you indeed set your faces to enter Mitzrayim, and shall go to sojourn there, then it shall be that the sword which you feared overtakes you there in the land of Mitzrayim, and the scarcity of food of which you were afraid clings to you there in Mitzrayim, and you die there. Now, clearly he was talking to them back then, right? But this goes for you right now. I put this off. I put coming out here off for a few years, and it's documented. I kept talking about like just going out west, out to Utah or wherever, Washington. I mean, for a while there, I was talking about the Olympic National Forest and just all over the place out here. And, but I was scared to do it. I was nervous about what would I do. And when I finally did muster up enough to leave, I was just planning on going for a road trip. I didn't know that this is what I was going to end up doing. I had no idea. But I've been saying this. I realized that there was nothing to be afraid of. And whatever you can do there, wherever you are, if you're in Florida, Hawaii, Wisconsin, wherever you are, Illinois, wherever you are, you can be doing the same thing here. But being here, you're in the safe spot. You're in the place where deliverance is given, in the zone. And if you stay, whatever you stay for, you'll end up dying for. That's what he's telling you right here. If you indeed set your faces to enter Mitzrayim and shall go to sojourn there, then it shall be that the sword which you feared overtakes you there in the land of Mitzrayim. And scarcity of food which you are afraid clings to you there in Mitzrayim, and you die there. Well, this is all about trusting. It's going to be scary feeling to do this. Yes. And you're probably never going to have the conditions just right for you to feel okay, safe to do it. If you keep doing that's how I was doing it. I kept saying, well, let me do this first. Let me wait till I get this amount of money or whatever. If you keep doing that, you might not ever do it. And it might, that window of opportunity might close for you. And like I said, whatever you're doing, wherever it is, you can do it way better here. It's going to be a lot better here, and you're going to live. And it's all about trusting, gaining trust, exercising that faith, that relationship with the Most High to do this. Going out on limbs, it's okay. No questions asked when the Most High is asking you to do it. And so it shall be with all men who set their faces to go to Mitzrayim, to sojourn there. They shall die by the sword, by scarcity of food, and by pestilence, and not one of them shall survive or escape from the evil I am bringing upon them. For thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Most High of Yasharal, as my displeasure and my wrath have been poured out on the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so shall my wrath be poured out on you when you enter Mitzrayim. And you shall be an oath, an astonishment, and a curse, and a reproach, and you shall see this place no more. Yahuwah has spoken about you, O remnant of Yehuda. Do not go to Mitzrayim. Know for certain that I have warned you this day. For you deceived yourselves when you sent me to Yahuwah your Most High, saying, pray for us to Yahuwah our Most High, and according to all that Yahuwah your Most High says. So declare to us, and we shall do it. So I have declared it to you today, but you have not obeyed the voice of Yahuwah your Most High in all which he has sent me to you. And now, know for certain that you shall die by the sword, by scarcity of food, and by pestilence in the place where you have desired to go to sojourn. Now, like I said, I understand that he was telling them back then, but the Most High don't change. When the punishment's over, he expects you to return home. If you refuse it, decline it in order to sojourn wherever it is you're going. I don't know, wherever it is you are. But it's all Egypt, it's all Babylon, however you slice it and dice it. So in the next chapter, 43, it says, and it came to be when Jeremiah had ended speaking all these words to all the people, all the words of Yahuwah their Most High, for which Yahuwah their Most High had sent him to them, that Azariah, son of Hosea, and son of John, son of Kira, and all the proud men, saying to Jeremiah, you are speaking a lie. Sound familiar? You're being deceived. Yahuwah our Most High has not sent you to say, do not go to Mitzrayim to sojourn there. For Baruch, son of Neriah, is moving you against us to give us into the hand of the Kasdim, the Chaldeans, to put us to death or exile us to Babel. So John, son of Kira, and all the commanders of the army and all the people disobeyed the voice of Yahuwah to stay in the land of Yehuda. And that's what all the words told us. For you, I'm not confused with who we're reading about here. I know this is back then. But you right now, all the word tells you to return to the land of Yehuda. You must return. And that's how the end, he told us that's how the end would look for an appointed time. And John, son of Kira, and all the commanders of the army took all the remnant of Yehuda who had returned to dwell in the land of Yehuda from all nations where they had been driven. The men and the women and the children and the sovereign's daughters and every being whom Nebuzaradan, chief of the guard, had left with that guy, son of Achim, son of Shaphan, and Jeremiah the prophet, and Baruch, son of Neriah. So they went to the land of Egypt, Mitzrayim, for they disobeyed the voice of Yahuwah, and they went as far as Taphanes, Taphanes. And the word of Yahuwah came to Jeremiah and Taphanes, saying, take large stones in your hand, and you shall hide them before the eyes of the men of Yehuda. In the clay, in the brick courtyard, which is at the entrance to Pharaoh's house in Taphanes. Then you shall say to them, thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Most High Yasharal, see, I am sending, and I shall bring Nebuchadnezzar, the sovereign of Babel, my servant, and I shall set his throne above these stones that I have hidden, and he shall spread his canopy over them. And he shall come and strike the land of Mitzrayim, bringing death to those appointed for death, and captivity to those for captivity, and the sword to those for the sword. And he shall set fire to the houses of the mighty ones of Mitzrayim, and he shall burn them and take them captive, and he shall cover himself with the land of Mitzrayim, as a shepherd puts on his garment, and he shall go out from there in peace. And he shall break the stone pillars of the house of the sun, which are in the land of Mitzrayim, and he shall burn the houses of the mighty ones of the Mitzrites with fire. And all through here, through all of Jeremiah, you can see the importance and how important it is to return. Right here in 44:14. And none of the remnant of Yehuda who have gone into the land of Mitzrayim to sojourn there shall escape or survive, lest they return to the land of Yehuda. You're not better than them people back then. And he's talking about you right now in these end times. You have to return, no matter how good of a person you are. If you can't come home, how good of a person are you? How much do you love the Most High? Lest they return to the land of Yehuda, to which they are longing to return to dwell there. And big newsflash, if you ain't longing to return to dwell there, there's your sign right there. For they shall not return except those who escape. And what did they say? We are not going to listen to you in the matter about what you spoke to us in the name of Yahuwah. They love it in Mitzrayim. They love it wherever they are. They would rather be there. And those who escape the sword, few in number, shall return from the land of Mitzrayim to the land of Yehuda. And all the remnant of Yehuda who came into the land of Mitzrayim to sojourn there shall know whose word is established, mine or theirs. See, and when you read this word, every time you open it up, you understand that it's telling you the same thing. That's how you know if his word's established or not. And nothing about that place has anything to do, really, with his word. Why were your strong ones swept away? Strong ones, remember? Strong. They did not stand because Yahuwah drove them away. He made many stumble. Indeed, they fell over each other and said, Arise, let us go back to our own people and to the land of our birth, away from the oppressing sword. There they cried, Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, is but a noise. He has let the appointed time pass by. Pass by. This everywhere you go is about the image of the beast. It's all telling you the same thing. Baldness shall come upon Gaza. Ashkelon shall be cut off with the remnant of their valley. Till when would you cut yourself, O you sword of Yahuwah? How long till you rest? Put yourself up into your sheath. Rest and be still. How shall it rest when Yahuwah has given it a command against Ashkelon and against the seashore? There he has appointed it. Boom. Does it need to be any clearer than that? And right back here in chapter 13, verse 15, listen and give ear. Do not be proud, for Yahuwah has spoken. Give esteem to Yahuwah, your Most High, before he brings darkness, and before your feet stumble on the dark mountains. And while you are looking for light, he turns it into the shadow of death. Makes it gross darkness. Boom. Everywhere you go, my friend, is the proof.